Because I can't stop thinking about it, let's review the Adventure Time series finale. Come along with me. I've been watching this show since the beginning, and I'm happy to say I was completely satisfied with its conclusion. The episode is about the impending Gum War. Princess Bubblegum and her uncle Gumball have gathered their own armies of heroes and villains to decide the fate of Ooh. However, Finn, Jake, and even Marceline think the war will only lead to disaster, so they do everything they can to stop it. Meanwhile, Betty and Kingman are working on some crazy magic biz to try and cure Simon Petrikov and recover Margles with the power of gold. This episode is told as a flashback from 1,000 years in the future. The King of Ooh is telling the story to two young adventurers who are similar to Finn and Jake. The future appears rather briefly in this finale, but it's insanely well developed. It has an original style and a bunch of new characters who only appear for mere seconds. It's a very creative way to make the finale more interesting, and give it a stronger thematic purpose. You could say there's a lot of fan service in here, but I think it's more than that. This episode is a cultivation of the whole series, so it's only right to see so many references to the past, even if some of them are extremely subtle. The episode is essentially 4 episodes in one, and it's surprisingly well paced given how much it needs to handle. Like usual, each part feels like its own episode. It does go a bit too fast, and there's no time for flashbacks or anything, so casual viewers may end up a bit confused, but I still think the writers did the best they could with the time they had. I especially love the pre-commercial break cliffhangers. They build up a lot of tension and keep you on the edge of your seat. Honestly, the whole finale kept me excited like that. Every second there's something interesting, dramatic, or emotional happening. So many surprising twists and turns too. The actual ending of the episode is perfection. It gives a lot of closure very quickly and subtly. No character arc resolutions are blatantly explained, it's all presented naturally and casually, like it always has in the series. Princess Bubblegum's last line to Finn is a great example of this. The only thing I think holds the story back are some missed opportunities, like how the previous villains who appear in this episode serve pretty much no purpose, even though they were foreshadowed dramatically in the previous episode. And Kingman's story doesn't get much progression, even though it seemed like it would. I also think they fit in some humor that wasn't really necessary, like what Jake does in the second part of the episode. I think they should have replaced that with more dramatic stuff. The humor is good, but it doesn't really mesh well with the situation and themes. There's some other things too, but they're all pretty excusable. It's definitely because there wasn't enough time to include everything, so the writers had to compromise and only include their favorite ideas. The animation is at its peak in this episode, so many awesome colors, movements, and surreal designs. I feel like the cinematography was a little more elaborate than usual too. There's a lot of good visual storytelling. This really felt like Adventure Time the movie from start to end because of the visuals. I can't spoil it, but there's a certain scene where characters are in dire trouble, and the way the scene looks and the way it's acted makes it feel so real. It's amazing how much expression they can get out of these dot smile faces. The only complaint I have about the animation is how a majority of the finale just happens inside of a rocky canyon. It's not the most interesting location. Think back to the Citadel episode, they should have gone for a more elaborate setting like that somehow, but it's fine. The design for other things in this finale makes up for it. Like Gold, for example, he's just some giant red monster that literally does no actions, yet the way he's presented makes him feel like a huge threat. Much like the animation, this is the best Adventure Time has ever sounded, too. The voice acting from everyone is perfect, and the music is incredible. This episode actually has its own soundtrack release, and it's worth a listen. The new song by Rebecca Sugar, Time Adventure, is probably my favorite one from the whole series. It just has such a strong significance to this show and my journey with it that I can't put into words. It's simple and beautiful, and creates an amazing somber atmosphere when it plays. The two other vocal songs from this episode are amazing too, especially the one Ice King gets. That's an amazing scene. As an Adventure Time fan, I couldn't have asked for a better ending. There's a lot of humor, drama, and emotion in this special that I'll never forget. Adventure Time has built up so much story, and it's amazing that they concluded everything that needed a conclusion in one episode. There's still some loose ends, but those are left open on purpose to help us feel like the adventure never ends. So I hope you enjoyed listening to me gush about Adventure Time for the past few weeks. I certainly had a lot of fun. This series may be over, but there's still so many shows to watch, and many more coming in the future. Maybe they won't match up to Adventure Time, but they'll be special in their own ways and give us some wonderful new memories. Adventure Time may have ended, but the fun never ends. And P.S., if you feel like crying, watch the last few minutes of the Adventure Time Comic-Con panel. It's heartbreaking. Anyways, thanks for watching.